Party has to put politics above the people of New Zealand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Brilliant.
Ko Tiara Flavel.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, in talking to this bill, the Taxation, Tax Administration and Remedial Matters Bill, I think one of the components of candidate training that should be part of compulsory learning for all wannabe politicians should be to get an understanding of the long list of acronyms that are sometimes bandied about in Parliament and in this chamber. In this bill, for example, the SOP introduces new measures associated with RWT on trusts and beneficiaries, QC and LAQC transition measures, and ESCT in the context of employer superannuation contribution tax. I think you get the general gist by just having to wheel off some of those acronyms. Well, Mr. Speaker, today's new word is pies, P-I-E-S, not mince and cheese pies that Todd McClay gets himself associated with, but amendments that related to the treatment of non-resident investment in portfolio investment entities, a la pies. Actually, even the category non-resident is sort of bizarre in a sense. It defines what people are not rather than what they are. It's sort of like, Mr. Speaker, non-Māori, which interprets a person's identity as not being Māori, but doesn't actually tell us anything about what the unique identity of those non-Māori are, of Irish or American, French, whakapapa. Anyway, currently if a foreign person invests directly in a foreign investment, they pay no New Zealand tax. But by making it more attractive for a foreign person to invest in managed funds, it will support the managed funds industry in Aotearoa with the idea that this will lead to more jobs and providing back office services for managed funds. Mr. Speaker, another benefit for other New Zealanders is that if we have a greater pool of funds under management, we will get economies of scale. This makes it more attractive to foreign investors, which ultimately makes it cheaper for investors in Aotearoa as well. For example, some of these funds managers, including AMP and AXA. It's a bit of a case of what is going to be good for the foreign investor will ultimately be good for Aotearoa, for New Zealand as a whole. Mr. Speaker, the Māori Party supports an economy of investment which leads to greater productivity and enhances well-being. So in this sense, we're pleased to support this bill. But I have to say pretty quickly that the Māori Party considers it necessary to carefully scrutinise and manage all foreign investments by non-residents in Aotearoa, and that's about protecting, preserving what is ours, within our hands, within our land. It should go without saying that we support the majority of the amendments which concern further responses to the Canterbury earthquake and affected taxpayers in the 2010 and 2011 tax returns. The majority provisions allows for the rollover of depreciation recovered into replacement assets. For example, suppose a building had a historical cost of $3 million, had been depreciated for tax purposes to $1 million and was insured for replacement for, say, $5 million. If this building was destroyed by the earthquake, the owner would be up for a tax bill of about $600,000 on the depreciation recovered of $2 million, even though they would have no money from which to pay this tax. Such tax would represent a windfall gain to the government from the earthquakes, which in anyone's books is pretty crazy. So basically the effect of the amendment means that people affected by the earthquake will not have to pay tax on the depreciation as one would usually. I understand there are also write-off rules. It is proposed that the write-off rules for buildings be extended from those written off by an event, say an earthquake, to include buildings which have been destroyed as a consequence of an event. Mr. Speaker, the Māori Party supports the effective recovery of Christchurch, and as such we support any changes to tax law which will help to facilitate this as a part of manaakitanga. We also wish to lift the economy of Aotearoa and support whānau. And in these regards, as I say, the Māori Party is happy to support this bill at its third reading.
Call Brendan Burns.